Prof G, as he's known, Scott Galloway, puts out a tweet, and he said the following. I mean, we'll have it up there, but I'll read it here for people who may be driving or listening. The real reason Chris Licht failed was not the way he executed his job, but the way it was conceived in the first place, to turn CNN back into the neutral arbiter of truth, which is impossible in today's fractured, polarized cable news environment. So that is Scott Galloway, a respected guy. He's the podcast and known as Prof G, does a lot of great content. And he's out there saying, look, this was never going to work. That's a bit fatalistic, but it is a pretty impassioned voice from the outside that's also impartial, I think. It was pointing out how difficult this was going to be to do it. Now, here's one element of the case study. What now? So when you walk into this, let's pretend that we are now the board of directors. The real question is, what do you do with CNN now, and what can you do? And by the way, the guy running it has bought and sold networks like a monopoly game, and that's what built Warner Brothers Discovery, because David Zaslav is not a turnaround guy either. He's a lawyer turned manager, director, executive of cable nets who was very big on the deal-making side. He may say he's touched programming in his career at CNBC and others, but this guy's really a deal maker, and he understands tax. He comes from the John Malone side of thinking out of these cable networks about running high profitability, tax benefits, and squeezing profits out where you have to when creative teams become bloated or networks become bloated, is forcing them to be more like manufacturing companies and be more efficient. Well, over his life, he's earned a reputation for gutting networks. Doesn't sound like a turnaround guy to me. It doesn't sound like the more entrepreneurial Ted Turner that said, we're going to build this. This is CNN. This is what it's. By the way, that was the original thing, James Earl Jones. This is CNN. That's where it was. So he really wasn't, the guy either. And so here he's got a network that's 5% of it. And here's some comments that have come from the private equity side. Wall Streeters who know David say at some point he will up and unload the place, probably to PE or bean counters who could care about anything but the bottom line, further constraining what was once a proud network. So all the people that worked on organ rejection, I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot of them that are sitting right now worried about what's next. Because as much as they didn't like what was going on and they didn't like him, you just got him toasted. He did some things that helped. The Atlantic article was not very helpful. Or helpful. And by the way, I guess one of the PR people and a couple other people that were part of that article were also let go. Yep. So you, and you. So it's obviously that Atlantic article resulted in the temporary truncation of careers, not just Chris Licht. So that's what you've got it. So let's talk about it. You know what? In a past life, I was faced with this on a very small scale. It was not a CNN, and I wasn't on these harsh lights, and I was not on red carpets every weekend for opening of shows. But it was a small technology company. But I walked in, and I soon realized after I was hired that the board was not 100% behind the CEO. And the CEO, after a number of months, left. I had to win the respect of the people that were left, even though we had to lay off some people, and we had to work on the product, and I had to hire an expert, and this happened to be that it came from media, a really great guy that came from media, by the way, and hire him in. And I had a board member that came from media as well. So I've kind of seen this on a small scale that was a turnaround. Now, we were mostly successful with it. We, got some money out of it and sold it to an aggregator. Good. But I understand what it's like on a small basis to have to win the group, fix the product, people are leaving, but I don't think, Chris Licht is a bad guy. And everything I've read, he didn't suddenly become dumb. And he didn't suddenly become the guy that, he didn't suddenly become not the guy that did Colbert, that did CBS This Morning, that did Morning Joe. He's still that guy. He's still a great showrunner and an executive producer. Just not here. So when it's time to do it at your company and you have to make a transition and you have to turn around, whether it's a sales department or other things, the first thing you have to do is you have to, during the transition, you as the leader need to win the newsroom. And whether your newsroom is your tech team, whether your newsroom is your sales team, whether your newsroom is your operations team, you as the leader need to win them as you are searching for the next individual. Because you want to get your hours back to go do what you need to do to lead the company, because you have to hire somebody to lead this area where you need a turnaround in your organization. And so you have to win your own newsroom, point one. Point two, you have to equip the individual for success. You can't leave the new leader on an island just to be picked at and be the subject of organ rejection later. You have to pull everyone together and empower the new leader and support the new leader in a non-dictatorial way. And the last thing you have to do is you have to be visible, 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 and give access to people that are the impacted people on the team so they can have a voice, because you know what? The people that are in the machine every day might have some information for you. Not gossip, not secrets, not scuttlebutt, but they may say, you know, we weren't doing this for the last several months with the other person here with our customers. I think we need to get back to that. You need to be transparent and give access to them. This is how you can handle a turnaround, whether it's a department or you're a leader that's being walked in, and if you're being offered a job, and this was a big high-paying job, and a lot of people would say, Chris Licht is not going to turn that job down. That's a fantastic high-paying job. He's not going to turn that down. Well, now he may wish he had done something different, but he's going to walk into that and he's going to take it. However, if I was going into that, I would step back and say, have you prepared the patient for the organ transplant? Because we want the company to succeed. Those people don't want to be laid off. You know, they want their bonuses. They want safety and security for their life, their spouse, their kids, whatever it is. They want that. But human fear and insecurity will cause them to go straight to organ rejection because they want the old boss, perhaps. Some of them may be glad he's gone, and you have no problem with those ones. That's where it sits. And so CNN, I think, is a case study of you didn't prepare the organization for the organ transplant, and you brought in the wrong organ that was highly talented in so many ways, but was not the guy to turn around a news organization. Licht is not a guy without media credentials or capabilities. He is. And he will land on his feet, I think, in fantastic fashion after a little bit of a honeymoon from this, and he's probably off somewhere, hopefully having an umbrella drink with an ice bag on his head saying, wow, that didn't go as planned.